declare the first council meeting of 2025 of the Nairn Town Council open for business. Today is Wednesday, January 15th, and it's 6:04 p.m. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? I know I've declared a conflict. I read them? Yes. So I, Amy Mazie, declare a conflict of pecuniary interest in item 7H on January 15, 25. I'm making this declaration because I'm currently a firefighter. I can confirm that I will not vote on the matter. I will not take part in the discussion or any question in respect of the matter, and I will not attempt in any way, whether before, during, or after the meeting, to influence the voting on any such question. I, Wayne Austin, declare a pecuniary interest in item 7H on January 15th, 2025. I'm making this declaration because there is a relative involved. I confirm that I will not vote on the matter. I will not take part in discussion or any question in respect of the matter. And I will not attempt in any way, whether before, during, or after the meeting, to influence the voting on any such question. I, Trevor McVeigh, declare pecuniary interest in item 7H on January 15th, 25. Council agenda. I'm making this declaration because he is a firefighter. I confirm that I will not vote on the matter. I will not take part in the discussion or any question in respect to the matter. I will not attempt in any way, whether before, during, or after the meeting, to influence the voting on any such questions. So that's our pecuniary interest. We have Chris Ray, our integrity commissioner, here to speak to us tonight. And I just wanted to say a few words. I've recently been reflecting on the role of integrity commissioner because we've had some issues in the past few months. And as a community, we're required to have an integrity commissioner because it's an essential role. But basically, maybe it wasn't as clear to me, or, you know, we're learning this. There's a lot to learn in these roles as mayor and councillor. But that the integrity commissioner really protects the rights of the residents who have elected us. That he is there to ensure that we abide by the rules, regulations, and even the laws, and that there's ethical behavior. So he's really in protecting the interests of the public. And I think the amount that we listen to our integrity commissioner really shows our intent to be transparent and open with the public and the people that have elected us. I don't mean this as a slight to anyone in any way. It was a bit of a clarity for me to really think about why do we have an integrity commissioner and what is his role. I just really, he's also an officer of our corporation and should be shown the same respect that anyone else, even ourselves, in our corporation, that we are, we are people with authority, and he, just like us, warrant respect. But basically my bottom line is that he has a job to do, and that job is to protect the interest of our public. And I know we all feel strongly that we try to do our best to represent the public and the people that we all know pretty well, right? So I just want to turn this over to Chris Ray, and he has a presentation for us.
Thank you, Your Worship, to you and to council and staff. Belated Happy New Year. I hope your holiday season was nice, and I hope the rest of your winter is nice as well as we continue to get snow. So I think all of council and staff have received a copy of my most recent report that I've done. I'm going to do a short presentation here with respect to the contents, or the majority of the contents of that report. I want everybody at the outset to understand that this report and my presentation is being delivered with the utmost of respect for you as people and you as council members as well, and as council. In no way, shape, or form is any of this being delivered with respect to any kind of personal agenda. Mayor Mazie, your comments at the beginning of the meeting are well noted and very appropriate for any council, frankly, not just yours, but for any council. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we can go through the presentation. I'm going to see, here we go. Oops, okay, see if we got it here correct. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So the one that you should be seeing here, your worship, says is dated at the bottom January 15th. Is that correct?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try another one. I got a bunch of screens open here, that's why. How's that one?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for your patience. So tonight we're going to talk about an investigation I did with respect to the conduct of councillors Austin, Deputy McDonald, and council as a whole. And that's the subject of the report that all of you would have received last week. So, my firm's been appointed as your integrity commissioner. You would have remembered that was done with respect to the requirement under the Municipal Act, Section 223, sub 3, that the integrity being appointed is to perform in an independent manner the functions assigned by the municipality under the Act. You have an integrity commissioner protocol policy, which sets out the framework of the office and reflects the policy surrounding potential breaches of your council code of conduct and any contraventions of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act under Section 551 or 52. With respect to the investigation process, any member of the public, staff, member of council, you have the right to submit an inquiry with the Office of the Integrity Commissioner if you think that a potential breach has occurred. What the Office of the Integrity Commissioner does is filters through that inquiry to gauge if the subject matter breach reaches a threshold for an actual investigation. If there is an investigation, the office will determine the proper course of action to be taken with respect to the guidance and of the adopted protocol of the Integrity Commissioner. The outcome report becomes a public document and must be adopted by council as information purposes, and it should be posted on the municipal website. The legislation dictates that the Integrity Commissioner can only recommend penalties or sanctions based on breaches of the Code of Conduct and or Conflict of Interest Act. You make the final decision on the recommended outcome. And depending on the severity of the breaches or the infraction, there could be an application to a judge with respect to contraventions under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, more specifically sections 551 and 52. And the judge at that point would determine the proper course of action that may be taken should a council member be found in contravention of the Act, which could include a reprimand, a suspend remuneration. Your seat could be declared vacant. You could be disqualified from being a member for not more than 7 years, and you could be required in some cases to pay restitution. So, with respect to this issue, so the report concerns alleged breaches of the Code of Conduct by Township Council members. It was conducted by my office following a complaint received, and the focus is on events at the November 18th, 2024 council meeting regarding a previous IC report. It utilized a framework based on legislation, policy, and the documented evidence, audio, video that was obtained through that council meeting on the 18th of November.
Sorry,
So I
Counselor,
must,
sorry, I just want to interrupt for a second. Is Counselor Despatie okay? His camera is off. Is that
no, his
fine?
camera should be on. His camera should be on.
I didn't know, it seemed to be a funny picture for, yeah.
Sorry, we're in open session. No, he can have his camera off if he wants.
He doesn't seem to be answering.
You still, did you lose quorum?
I
No.
am very well aware that the session has been going on. I chose to turn my camera off, so I hope it doesn't offend anybody.
You know, it was a funny picture for a bit and then your camera was off, so I didn't know if there was a problem. I'm not
No
sure.
problem at all.
Okay, so with respect to investigations by the Integrity Commissioner, of course, the emphasis is always on a finding based on the balance of probabilities, which is it's more likely than not to have occurred. I do want to state at the outset that this report is not a re-examination of the previous investigation with respect to Councillor Wayne Austin. So in terms of this investigation on the roles and responsibilities, just to recap, the Integrity Commissioner is responsible for enforcing the Code of Conduct and reporting to Council on that. The Council members, their role is, well, they're subject to the Code of Conduct, their oaths of office, and conflict rules. The Township Code of Conduct is a key document with respect to here for ethical behavior, decision-making, and respect. The Municipal Conflict of Interest Act provides guides and handling of potential conflict of interest under that particular piece of legislation. And the investigation process is primarily relied on the audio video recordings for direct evidence and not interviews. As I stated earlier, further comment is made in the report with respect to interviews not being conducted because the audio visual provided the objective evidence that we required. In terms of the facts, council members' comments at the November 18th meeting challenged the Integrity Commissioner's work, ethics, and integrity. The allegations by the application included disrespectful behavior towards the Integrity Commissioner, potentially defamatory remarks, misuse of influence, failure to adhere to conflict of interest declarations, obstruction of the investigative process with respect to a threat of reprisal, and specific sections of the code allegedly breached are outlined in the report. The position of the complainant was focused on actions during and after the November 18th meeting, stating that there were alleged multiple breaches of the code by Councillors Wayne Austin, Guy Despatie, and Rod McDonald. There was also a concern of erosion of public trust in the council's integrity, concern with respect to disrespectful conduct towards the Integrity Commissioner and disregard for the governance framework, and an obstruction of accountability measures, including training and conflict resolution processes. The position of the respondent, the overall position, reflects a rejection of the allegations of a dismissal of the Integrity Commissioner's authority and a refusal to acknowledge accountability for their actions. That was all obtained from the audio-visual. At issue is compliance with the Code of Conduct, defamation and disrespect, procedural integrity and governance, and the non-acceptance of recommendations. With respect to my findings, I found that Councillor Austin breached leadership and reputational sections of the code. He violated his oath of office regarding conflict of interest. He improperly used his influence. but there was no evidence of a reprisal from him. With respect to Councillor Despatie, he undermined the integrity commissioner through email. Thus, he breached the leadership and reputational breach with respect to the code. He disrespected the IC and the office of the IC, which is an officer of the corporation, and also suggested a potential reprisal as well. Councillor McDonald lacked procedural integrity with respect to his reversal on a conflict declaration, participated in votes after declaring a conflict, but he also had no evidence of a reprisal as well. Further findings, there was a refusal to participate in further training by the integrity commissioner, and that could be seen as violating the code of conduct. Failure to accept the recommendations of the integrity commissioner may be seen as breaching multiple sections of the code, and certainly could be seen as undermining principles of fairness and transparency, respect for the role of the integrity commissioner, and the ethical framework for governance. Multiple violations of the code were confirmed. As I stated, key areas of concern included lack of integrity and professionalism, failure to comply with conflict of interest rules, disrespectful conduct towards the integrity commissioner, obstructive behavior being the threat of reprisal, damage to public trust, and the municipality's reputation. So as I move forward to recommendations, first and foremost, Councillor Austin, I am recommending a formal censure by council, which essentially is a council resolution that suggests his actions were inappropriate. A 30-day suspension of his remuneration, mandatory training in the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act and ethical governance, and a public apology. With respect to the actions of Councillor Despatie, also a formal censure by council, a 30-day suspension of remuneration, mandatory workplace harassment and respectful communication training, and a written apology to the integrity commissioner for his suggestion of a reprisal. Councillor MacDonald recommending a formal censure by council, governance and ethics training, and a public explanation of his actions with respect to his reversal on his declaration. With respect to council as a whole, comprehensive training program for all council members facilitated by a third party, a public statement reaffirming commitment to ethical governance and accepting the report's findings, implementation of an annual review process for the integrity commissioner's performance, a commitment to addressing all concerns constructively, and adherence to the code of conduct which is necessary to rebuild public trust. Moving forward, the implementation of these recommendations is vital to rectify the breaches. Focusing on fostering transparency, accountability, and ethical behavior are most notably important. And in fact, Section 270 of the Municipal Act states that the council must have the policy on transparency and accountability, while ethical behavior is certainly a main point within the code of conduct. Also, council can demonstrate a commitment to restoring public trust, any trust that might have been lost, and a culture of mutual respect among all is essential for the municipality to operate effectively. That's the end of my presentation, Your Worship. And if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to field those questions.
Councillor Despatie, do you have anything for Mr. Ray?
No, I do not.
Councillor
Did you hear
McDonald?
that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yes, we heard it.
Yes, I did, yeah. Councillor McDonald? Questions?
Comments?
What was that?
No problem.
No comment.
I have
Okay, sorry.
just for clarity, I don't know, maybe, maybe others don't know, evidence of reprisal, what is meant by that? Exactly, it was on the,
Yep.
on the, of the three, I just didn't.
Good question, Councillor McVeigh. So if you read through the report, you'll see where Council Deputy sent an email to the CAO indicating, well, what he did was actually provided a link to the city of Sudbury where they had dismissed their integrity commissioner. That is a indication of a potential reprisal with respect to the investigations that I've done.
Okay, no, I'd seen all three had evidence of reprisal, and I didn't know exactly what that meant
No,
or what.
No, I should clarify there, Councillor McVeigh. So neither Councillor Austin nor Councillor McDonald showed evidence of reprisal. That belonged to Councillor Deputy.
Okay. And then, formal censor of council, that was also on the three, what is meant by that?
So a censure is essentially a resolution that is considered by council or passed by council that states that the actions of the individuals was not in keeping with good governance, the wording of which would have to be established by your CAO with respect, or your clerk with respect to a discussion with myself. But essentially, it is a motion that would be passed by council with respect to that.
Thank you very much. Thanks for clearing that for me.
You're most welcome.
Well, if no one has any other comments, or does Mr. Ray stay on as we discuss and work through this? So moved by Councillor Austin, second by Councillor McDonald, be it resolved that council accept the Integrity Commissioner's report as presented, and further that council will consider the findings and recommendations in the report at the council meeting of February 10th. 2025. All in favor?
In favor.
Okay. So that's carried. So that's to accept the report. Well, thank you, Mr. Ray. Thank you for providing us the clarity and taking the time to try to have us move forward in our community and deal with the issues that come up.
Thank you, Your Worship. Most happy to present it tonight. And as I said at the beginning, this report is provided with all due respect for everybody and all the council positions there as well. I simply am certainly would be responsive to assisting you to move on. And I wish you all the best with the rest of your meeting, and all of you good health as you continue in your daily lives.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Why was I was never informed that I did something wrong. To now, that he come and told me.
I think you were emailed the report. What we were all emailed the report at the same time.
Well, I might have, maybe didn't read it then.
This is he there? This
No,
would
I
have
don't
been
want
a
to talk
good-
to him.
No, he's
No,
not.
I'm just curious. You know, I was never informed of it, never talked to nobody. The last time I was charged years ago, they interviewed me, they asked me questions, and I had a chance to defend myself.
In the report, he talks about how interviews can be subjective. And that he went directly to the meeting recordings. That's all, I think he says that's all he uses, right, for information?
Oh, I'm not questioning what he's doing there. I'm just questioning why I didn't have been notified. Never been questioned, never been, nothing.
Right, so he actually explained. I'd have to
No,
find.
no, it's okay now. It's over with as far as I'm concerned. I just was curious why I didn't know. I was charged with something and never knew till I walked in the store tonight to this council meeting.
I don't know if the word is charged.
Now, I might have missed the email. I don't know. I get 100 emails there. Well, Belinda, she sends us everything. So I might have accidentally deleted it. I don't know. Well, I mean,
We
that's-
did just get the findings yesterday, I believe, right?
Four-
He sent his
Four
report.
thirty-three yesterday, they came in. I'm just reading them now too.
And if you weren't looking at your email after that time, you didn't see it. That's,
And that, I think, is how it goes with integrity commissioner reports, that we don't have them a long time before the meeting. Sometimes we don't get them before the meeting, if I understand it correctly. But I just to respond to what you were saying, I'm on page 8 of his report. Interviewing participants could have introduced disputes over interpretations of events, motivations, and statements made during the meeting. The audio and video recordings eliminated this risk by providing indisputable evidence of the exact language used by council members, the context in which comments were made, and the sequence of events during the meeting. As a result, any claims of misrepresentation or unfairness in this investigation would be baseless, as the recordings spoke for themselves. And then in 40, he says the purpose of interviews is typically to supplement or clarify incomplete or ambiguous evidence. In the case of this investigation, the evidence was neither incomplete or ambiguous. Conducting interviews might have added unnecessary layers of subjectivity or provided a platform for participants to justify their actions or comments after the fact and deflect accountability by introducing unrelated issues or counter accusations. The decision to rely on objective recordings ensured that the investigation remained focused and evidence-based. So, yeah, he just looked at the meetings.
Okay, now, how does he get to look at the meetings? Like, does he look at all the meetings or somebody report this?
I think it says that there was,
Number 11 of the, after, on the summary on the first page.
the complainant wished to remain anonymous,
Okay.
and that's always an option when dealing with the integrity commission.
Well, with that, I was told many years ago from my supervisor, if you don't sign it, you're not responsible for it. So, I don't think, I don't know what I'm trying to say to you, but,
I think you're trying to say that if someone isn't willing to put their name
yeah,
on
that's
the
what I would say.
complaint, that
It's worth
it-
nothing.
it seems that they're not, well,
It's worth nothing to me because of that. I don't know who reported it. And if they don't have enough gumption to put their name on it, well, too bad. To me, I know I'm charged, but I got no choice.
is the
That's
right
my
word
defense.
charged? I don't know if that's the right word.
you're accused.
Accused or something.
Yeah, maybe accused.
Can't be accused because he listened to us. I said something out of he didn't like. Or I shouldn't have said maybe. I don't know.
So we have the month, we don't make a decision on his recommendations till next month. We have time to think about it.
Oh, I'm done thinking about it. It's over with for me. Taxpayers, I work for the taxpayers of this community, not for him.
Well, that's what I was trying to explain before he spoke, that really integrity commissioners in every community are there to ensure that we follow rules. So we wouldn't be in trouble if there was no problem with the rules, regulations, and really we're talking about laws. So there is an issue and we need to resolve it in the best way. I don't think this is a smear on anyone's character. I think this can be a small bump on the road, and frankly, I have much bigger issues to deal with in this town right now. Number one, the uranium risking being in our drinking water. That's taking a huge amount of time. And so I would like us to keep working and moving forward. That's what I would like us to do, and do what we do best when we work together and make the best decisions for the public. So,
That's what I've been doing for 22 years.
yeah, I don't think any of us are here because we want a good time. I think we're here to work for basically our friends and neighbors and our community. That's why we're here. We're all here for the same reason. So we just need to focus on that and do the best job we can. All right, so we don't have a public meeting, discussion, any discussions arising from previous council minutes? Approval of council minutes. So moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Austin, be it resolved that the following council minutes be accepted as presented. A, regular council meeting minutes, December 9th, 2024, all in favor? That's carried.
Okay, this is just to receive reports and minutes.
That's moved by Councillor Austin, second by Councillor McDonald, be it resolved that the minutes and reports of 7A to K are noted as received, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, so we start with the water budget. Who would like to lead off that discussion?
The budget's there. That's
The budget, well, we do have options. And actually, we cannot make a decision until next month. We need a public meeting. So we can discuss it. We can kind of have an idea of what we're doing. But we don't vote on it till next month because we need the public meeting and, you know, they need a notice. And Councillor Austin, your feelings?
The same as before, we have to go with what they're recommending, basically. We don't have the knowledge to change their things unless there was some really expensive item that we had to delay. Otherwise, it's okay.
So you would, because I think CAO Ketchuba gave us numbers for a 3% raise or a 5% increase.
Is that sorry, your worship, is that the 0, 1, 3, and 5 section?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, no, perfect.
Yeah. So if we raise costs by the 5%, and in the last 2 years, we have raised them 5% each year. If we raise them by 5% again, it would raise the cost $12.72 a quarter. So right now, everyone's water bill is $241.77 a quarter. So it would be $80.59 a month. So we would be adding a quarter, you know, $12.72 to $242. That's what we, with a 5% increase. We do have a huge list of things we're trying to do, swab out 50% of the water distribution. So like the hydrants, I guess we put it off for a few years. So there's a big cost in that. The computer, the soda ash pump, the high lift pump. The only thing I did notice was that there was $10,000 in call out fees. And I just wondered if you could speak to that and if we can happily avoid any of that. And do we need to have call out fees and save me $10,000?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. Call-out fees, are essentially what they're called. So every time, an alarm goes off at our water treatment plant for many different reasons. The operator, which is Aqua, would be notified. They, have attempted, to reduce the amount of times they actually have to come out here in person. So that's why we had some computer issues this year. We had to get some IT in to get the computer properly communicating with their system so that they could potentially reset different pumps or do different things from a remote place. They wouldn't have to be here actually in person. Fortunately, that system was down for a lot of the year. So every time an alarm went off, they'd have to physically come here.
So is that part of the new computer that's needed?
So yes, so it needs updates. They got it up and running, but it needs unfortunately expensive updates. So that was part of some of the capital costs for 2025. Also, if there's a fire call or there's a fire practice and for whatever reason, they weren't notified ahead of time, or obviously you can't stop everything if there's an actual fire. Certain pumps kick on and they need to know why. So they need to sometimes physically come out here and say, you know, why is the fire pump running? Why is there a huge amount of water going out of that plant?
Do they have the number of our fire chief that they could ask? Or
I
is that
believe they do.
appropriate?
I believe they do. I believe they communicate somewhat regularly. They do know what our fire practices are, but perhaps we could just increase that communication if possible, but that's something we could definitely look into to try to reduce those costs.
I mean, that would be nice, even if it was $5,000. That we, I mean, there are going to be times that they need to come out. But for a regular fire practice, I would not think that's essential.
So.
Councilor McVeigh.
I'm gonna plead that I didn't read this fully. So what did they, I was away and I didn't actually, I skimmed the whole article, so. As Counselor Austin said, what are they stating as a budget for next year? Like, do they anywhere in this, does it say? We should be at 5% or should we be at 3 or we could be at 2 or, sorry, I didn't see it, so I'm quickly reading it and. Like Counselor Austin said, we have to do what they want because we are mandated by them. And we need to make sure the funds are there for them. And we don't have much choice in this. But I don't think we can't collect extra, right? Because it's gotta go towards water.
It can go to reserves. So we have a certain amount in reserves and maybe you want to speak to that, CEO.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. December 31st, 2024, the amount sitting in our water reserves was $122,478. We have some large capital projects going on, some of it funded by grant funding, some of it not. We had approved the capital maintenance plan already. And there was over $80,000 in capital replacements or expenses noted in that plan. However, some of those are covered under that grant program. So I've estimated $60,000 in capital expenses this year. And next year, they're projecting almost $100,000 needed. Our plant is getting old. It was installed in mid to late 90s. And some of those big components, we don't want them to fail, so we want to replace them before they go down. So they're recommending over $100,000 in capital next year. So I want to make sure that our reserves remain healthy. We're funding the expenses that we have this year. And as you know, costs are not going down, they're going up.
No,
So-
thank you for that. That answered all my questions.
So just to review, we have approximately 122,000 in reserves. But we are putting 60,000 of that towards our big capital
For this year.
project. And then that leaves us with 60,000 that would cover the immediate things they're wanting to do. But then you were saying next year they are asking for 100,000 more. Wow. That's 160,000 immediate, well, plus the capital project.
So.
Some of that will be covered under grant funds.
Some of it this year will be covered under the grant, nothing next year. Unless there's a new grant program that we can apply.
Let's hope so. Counselor Jay Petty, you've been quiet on this. Oh, sorry, you're still muted, Counselor Jay Petty.
There we go. Yeah, I'm having some issues with my internet and my technology knowledge. Anyway, yeah. if anybody has learned anything from Walkerton, we cannot afford to cut costs on this particular issue. Our residents have to have clean, healthy water. So unfortunately, if it has to go up more than we want to, we'll have to bring it up. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, thanks. So again, we're not making the decision today, but I believe that, does anyone have any more questions about water? So we'll have a public meeting next month. And, so should we try to make a partial decision now or?
It would be good to have a direction, because, I'm sure the residents will be calling me and asking me on what they think the decision will be.
Okay, so are we all generally thinking approximately 5% raise? I mean, there was the option of 0, 3, or 5, but we've just heard the numbers.
I don't believe there's much difference in our cost between going 3% and 5%. I don't like going 5%, but I think we have to.
It's $4 in a quarter,
Yeah,
like in a quarter of a year, it's $4.
3 months.
Yeah, that, you're right, that's good. I didn't notice
I
that.
agree with Councillor Austin.
Yeah, Counselor McDonald, so
Yes.
5% and Counselor Deputy, you're thinking 5%? Okay, okay. So that is what, water will be. Probably, we'll do that next.
Our recommendation.
Yes, we have to do it next month. Oh, sorry. Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, whereas council accepts the CAO's report of 2025-1 entitled 2025 draft water budget as presented for information. And be it resolved that council has reviewed the draft 2025 waterworks budget options as attached to this report. And further that council will schedule a public meeting on February 10th, 2025, for which notice will be duly given, and council will then approve the 2025 waterworks rates to be enacted retroactive to January 1st, 2025. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, so next we have the open air burning bylaw, and the recommendation is to move fees from 125 to 200. Does anyone have any comments on that, or? I did clarify with CAO Petriba, and people can be charged with multiple offenses. So that could, I'm not, it might be somewhat unlikely, but that is what could happen. Any comments or questions?
Yes, my question is, who's gonna charge them?
Well, the bylaw officer.
And he comes here once in a while.
Well, there have been complaints about burning. You can call the bylaw officer. You know, you can also take pictures too. So we all have a phone generally that takes pictures. And the public can make complaints. They're 100% anonymous, so people worry that neighbors will be, there will be retribution. But it is anonymous.
I think this has been cleared up too, with the revision of our burn bylaw. Like in the dates and that and the times,
Yeah.
and now we can burn, the public can burn. Forget me, I'm gonna. mess
No,
this
you're
up.
right.
After November, from November 1st to April 1st,
Yeah,
anytime, and then after April 1st. And don't hold me to the exact dates, but I thought that's what they were supposed to.
You're close.
I'm close,
October 31st
October 31st,
to April 30th, anytime.
that's pretty good, pretty good for the old tickets. So that should alleviate a lot of the misconception, because I believe the old bylaw was written different. And multiple people had different ideas of the law, even ourselves. On the fire department, I think we had different ideas,
Mhm,
we didn't know, and
mhm.
as a member of the fire department, I think that was. Nobody knew, so that that should alleviate this, it should make this stick more, right? Like, you know, the rules. The bylaw isn't ambiguous, I guess I'm trying to say. It is, it's plain as day, here's the dates when you can do this and this. And the complaints we were getting before, I think at the municipal office, were after that date and nobody knew the exact.
I was getting complaints about garbage, so that doesn't really affect anything with the, but still, it'll just be the bylaw
Yes,
officer. And really, I think what we're just discussing is the change from $125 an offense to $200. I think
Yeah.
that's the main difference, unless I'm missing
I just,
something.
yeah, good.
Yeah, we should all be on the same page. So is everyone fine with making the changes that are proposed? Counselor, okay, so moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald. Whereas council accepts the CAO's report of 2025-2 entitled Amendment to the Open Air Burning Bylaw as presented for information. And be it resolved that council approves the proposed changes as attached to this report, and further that the bylaw 2025-1 be given 3 readings at the January 15th, 2025 council meeting to enact the changes. All in favor? That's carried. Do we do anything for the fire protection grant?
Just that will give the agreement 3 readings by bylaw.
Yeah, so let's just announce it. We received a fire protection grant for approximately $11,000 to have a personal PPE dryer in the fire department, so we can keep equipment clean and dry. So moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, whereas council has received the CAO's report entitled Fire Protection Grant, Successful Application for Information, and be it resolved that council authorize the execution of the transfer payment agreement for the fire protection grant by giving bylaw 2025-2 3 readings at the January 15th, 2025 council meeting. All in favor? That's carried. And then we have the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. Does anyone have any questions about that? The internship grant agreement that allows us to have a 3rd person in the office. All right, moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, whereas council accepts the CAO's report 2025-4 entitled Authorization to Execute the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation Internship Grant for Information, and be it resolved that council authorize the CAO and the mayor to sign the funding agreement with the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation, and further that council authorize the execution of the agreement by giving bylaw 2025-3 3 readings at the January 15th, 2025 council meeting. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, so next we have the Hutchinson Environmental Sciences Assessment. This is a really huge document. I hope that you have spent time on it and what we should do moving forward. Any ideas of, you've read the document, it is hard to understand. I think at some point we should make it public. I would actually like to have a town hall with it. But any other questions or comments?
I think our CAO's report explains it quite clearly. Because it cleared my head after reading that whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot of science. So there are recommendations about water sampling. So our CAO and I have discussed, should we consider taking water samples 4 times a year. Right now, our water samples are done by Aqua in January and July. I don't know if that's the most effective time. I don't know if it makes more sense to do it in spring runoff or the fall, like November, we get a lot of rain. I don't know. So I would like to recommend that we have our CAO ask some questions. Should we be checking quarterly? Should we just do it semi-annually, but maybe, tell them what our concerns are and what are the best months to be doing it? CAO?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I just want to confirm for anyone who is potentially watching this video. I just want to confirm that the water sampling that we're talking about, this is where they do all the heavy metals, and anything that's in that water. That's when we do this big sampling. I just want to confirm we do water sampling 3 times a week for the regular sampling. So I just wanted to clarify.
Nairn Hyman, your water is safe. Okay, so 3 times a week for regular sampling, but this is the huge heavy metal looking for any anomalies. So are we in agreement to possibly prepare a motion for our CAO to look into and report back to us about either changing the times or like when is the most effective time and should we do it quarterly? Counselor McVeigh, you look like you're gonna say something.
Yeah, I don't have any idea when the best time is, so I don't know when our CEO she's looking into it. Obviously cost to do 2 more samples, is it $50 or $500? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's
I
what
think it would be quite expensive.
I think, yes, yeah, I
These
just,
extra samples,
that's
but
right.
they're doing the detail, it's taking the samples, no problem, it's analyzing it. That's
And
what it
then is
costs.
there a reason why Aqua does it those 2 times a year? Cause they have people that are smarter than me.
Yeah, to
that
me,
say-
January doesn't make sense.
But
to
maybe
me.
there's a reason.
Right, and I think that's what we have to ask. Well, what we have to find out.
Right.
I would actually like to know as well, I know when you read the report, I would like to do sampling at Sand Bay because we have a little community up there, but it is 100 kilometers from the Agnew Lake, mine tailings management area. It is 100 kilometers to Sand Bay, but it's only 27 down Mystic Creek to our water treatment plant. So
How is it 100 kilometers to Sand Bay?
because it goes up John Creek and it goes around. That's what the study is with the maps.
Is that around like do they track that around the water's edge?
Yeah, they just are trapped.
I read the thing and it didn't, that part didn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Like they've just charted the water flow.
Yeah. But if it's that far to Sand Bay, then we're still downstream of that, so it's gonna be more than 100 or so.
No, it goes the other way. It goes to
No, the
go,
water from Sand Bay comes here.
Yeah.
The same water
yes, but there's a more direct route from
From
Ultima.
Mystic Creek, yeah.
Yeah, Mystic Creek, and so that's the 27 kilometers. So
There's 2 roads, not 1.
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, sorry.
They test both of those?
No, Aqua, no.
Aqua's just testing at the water treatment
I
plant.
think they wanna test the water in the lake.
Yeah,
So that's what I would like to find out how much it is to test in Sand Bay. Can we collect samples or, have our town? So can we do that ourselves or do we have to have Aqua go up to Sand Bay to check? And I would like to find a spot as close to Mystic Creek coming out to Spanish River as possible, but I don't know exactly how you physically get access in there, but that's where I think we should test. So is that gonna be a small fortune? Maybe, but I think we need to ask and find out. So what we're actually finding, and I'm sure you noticed in the report, is that there are wells up there, but they're not all functioning. And And we have to be careful that even if other wells are added, they need to be put where it scientifically makes sense, and we don't know that, that's why we have to go through specialists. So there wasn't. There wasn't as much clear, concise information as we might have wanted, because there just wasn't readings from wells. Wells were dry or,
These extra water sampling. You want them in low flow conditions, you don't want them in high flow runoff. Conditions, you want them in normal flow conditions. Like in the
Right.
fall, you get high flow, in the spring, you get high flow.
but then wouldn't there be a higher incidence of
No,
stuff being
you're-
run off?
That's taking a chemical, putting it in this bottle or putting it in a gallon jug.
Correct. Counselor Austin's correct in that.
Well, I think we need to
Sure.
ask the water experts and find out. So I think we're talking about what is the cost of 4 times a year, what are the months to do it? And additional testing, the cost for Sand Bay and Manistic Creek. Or we can, can we collect? Or do we need to spell that all out in a motion?
Um,
And we've seen reports from Manistic Creek where the fish aren't there anymore. From before the mine was there.
So that's from people?
Yeah,
Because that wasn't in that report, right?
no, not that report.
That's,
We've had reports.
they actually told us there had been another previous report done in like 2018, and they said it really hadn't changed. It's the same issues, so.
Well, after reading the report we got, I got no faith in the government reports. Unfortunately,
Well, the reality is we do not know what they're wanting to bring in. We do not know the scientific readings and what that is, so.
They're gonna show you what they wanna show you.
we know they just add more poison to the system. You know what it is.
okay, so did you want the motion to read that you're gonna direct myself, the CAO, to discuss with Aqua costs for extra testing and costs for testing at Sand Bay, and can staff collect the samples?
Yeah, okay. Sand Bay and Manistic Creek too, or like, yeah,
Realistic.
wherever Manistic, I don't care about Manistic Creek so much as when it hits Spanish. I guess,
They both come into Lake Agnew. About 6 miles apart, 8 miles apart. Actually, Manistic Creek comes into the river. Below High Falls.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
It's
it's,
coming into the same system.
yeah,
Where did they test for Baldwin? Cause they'd be testing Aqua, wouldn't they be testing there as well for Baldwin?
Actually, Baldwin doesn't have a water
Yeah.
treatment plant.
Oh,
in
yeah, that's
some-
right.
No, they're all
but
wells.
people, if they have their own
They got their
pump,
own-
they should be
They got
testing.
camps up there and everything on the
Yeah, but
Baldwin
they're
side
not-
too.
People don't test for that, or
They-
it's not a normal test for your drinking water.
No, you're right. Yeah, we're looking for,
For heavies.
yeah,
I mean, Sand Bay, maybe, yeah, but there's a business up there and they're giving water to the public or to their clients, so maybe they have a more detailed tests on them. Would be good to find out what
Yeah.
is involved.
I
Ash-
think he does it weekly is what he stated to me, but he has to run it into somewhere in the water guide or something.
Interesting.
He has to run in when he's in business,
Okay.
like in his season.
You know, what would be interesting, maybe it's out of our range, is to test the water above John Creek.
oh, and compare.
To what is in there.
That's a good idea.
Well, there's actually chemicals coming from Ursa Major,
Yeah, so.
so we don't know what. Maybe none of us could, I don't know.
We don't wanna know.
Okay, moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, whereas council accepts the CAO's report 2025-5 entitled Summary of the Hutchinson Environmental Science Limited Assessments of Agnew Lake Tailings Management Area for information, and be it resolved that council directs the CAO to discuss with Aqua the cost of the extra heavy metal water sampling and sampling at Sand Bay and Mystic Creek. All in favor? Carrie. So I also, as we're on this subject, I want to talk about next steps, and being in the media, which we haven't been so far in January. And I think it would be wise for us to do a town hall. We also are meeting with ministers, this week actually coming up. So we're meeting with the Minister of Mines and the NDP. And we've asked for more. And they don't have to give us a lot of notice. So we could discuss that at a town hall as well. I think it would be advantageous, like, it's gonna take us a few weeks to choose the date and advertise. So I wonder if you would be willing to schedule that now. I think the public wants to know, and I think something like this Hutchinson report, we can't just put it on our website. I think we
They
need
have
to
to
explain
watch
it. And I think, the lady from Northwoods would be willing to come, Northwatch.
Yes, she has mentioned that. She's also mentioning, she has made, comments of intervention on the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission regulatory report that's coming up January 29th, that meeting. On behalf of our township, we have also made interference comments as well. I'm just waiting to find out if we can present them orally at that meeting, or if they'll just be noted and discussed by the commissioner and their staff. So we're waiting to find that out.
So
I
if,
have a question and a comment. Would, is all of this being forwarded to all the councillors in Baldwin and Sable Spanish River?
Yes,
Okay, that's good. And I'd like to thank Belinda for her report summarizing it so we could understand it.
yes, Belinda's done a lot of work, and even just preparing to see a minister, you have to send them all your information in advance. And so we sent them the reports. But then we also kind of have to have a presentation and to say what we want, and it's been a fair bit of time and effort, and you know how difficult it is to read that report,
Yeah.
right? It's,
I'm sure by the time she read that and wrote the report, there was a lot of time spent that had to be done.
a lot of Advil too.
so do we just ask Belinda to maybe coordinate with Baldwin and Sable Spanish River to pick a date, or do we look, I'm imagining that we do it like the first week in February.
So our council meeting will be the 10th of February.
I mean, if we do it the first week of February, we've got a lot, we visited with ministers, there's been the CNSC. What is that committee that we're doing? We have the Hutchinson report, we have a lot to do that we could discuss.
Could I perhaps request after the council meeting, just when we come, working quite diligently the week before, just to get.
So potentially on the 17th,
That's just a suggestion.
or we say the week of the 17th, and then if Belinda coordinates with the other two communities, because they would like
I
to.
don't know. I'm thinking, is it better on the weekend so people can attend, or is it better during the week? So if you want to get to the public, you're gotta go on the weekend.
On a Monday night,
Coordinate it with the other two townships and see what they think and set up a date.
I mean, there's always people that work shift work, and that changes all the time, but I feel that generally people should be available Monday at 6, generally.
The other side of that is, you're gonna incur costs of 3 CEOs on a Saturday
Yeah,
as overtime, so nobody's gonna like that as a. You know, I know
Yeah,
you
whatever,
say we gotta do what we
just-
gotta do, but
if we want to get to the public.
Yeah. I just seeing that, cause you're gonna have 3 CEOs plus whatever else. It-
I mean, our last town hall was on a Wednesday,
it was-
Yeah,
and it was very well attended.
let's look for a Wednesday then. The middle of the week.
So do you wanna aim for the 19th?
Sure, I don't mind.
Is,
You're gonna have to check. with your-
Espanola
Yeah.
involved at all in this?
Who?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's-
Espanola?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to
somewhat,
draw
yeah.
the Water from the river, but
They are supportive, but specifically Sauble Spanish River and Baldwin have said they would like to sit at the table with us.
Yeah.
And because they have properties right on
Yeah.
Agnew Lake, so.
Okay, so I'll do my best to aim for that date. I'll let everyone know, if that works for everyone, or do we wanna look at an alternative, or?
So I would just like to keep this issue in the media. That's really what we need to do. So if we release comments on the 30th or the 31st about that CNSC, the 29th, we could also even release comments about our meeting with ministers after, the week before, the 22nd or 23rd.
I agree, we gotta keep this in because dead air, it'll just go quiet. So the
Yeah.
People that are gonna really be concerned are people that live on the lake. And even local community people aren't gonna,
So we could drum up interest by releasing a media release after our
Mm.
meetings at Roma.
Yeah,
A secondary media release after the Canadian Nuclear Safety Regulatory meeting.
yeah,
And then that'll drum up interest to
Yeah.
attend the public.
yeah, and then we just keep saying that our town hall meeting is this date.
Okay, Okay, I'll work together with the other CEOs and,
they're
Um,
reaching out to our Aboriginal partners as well and seeing what,
agreed,
offering the attendance.
agreed.
Okay.
Are we going to be inviting the ministries to this, or will this just be our side of it?
I think it should be just our side to. You're gonna put them in a confrontation again and.
Yeah,
Well, I think we
There
have
is
not
no point.
received
I
answers.
don't think you're gonna hear from them. I think you can invite them, but they're not gonna.
If they want to attend,
Yeah,
let them know when the meeting is and it's up to them.
We haven't received answers to those questions. And I think if we do, we might have a town hall with them. But I feel that, we all saw the recent letter with them saying, thank you for being patient.
Yeah.
We are working on answers to the questions, but I mean, it has been months. And, yeah, so maybe it should just be us and North Watch. And we can always have another one. Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty sure we're gonna need another one.
They're welcome to attend if they want as a public.
Okay, can we do a motion for
Yeah.
that? That's progress.
Do you want me to name the other townships or just surrounding municipalities?
Sure, surrounding.
I guess my question now, this report that we got, is this public now?
I don't think we've put it on our
No,
website.
I'm asking, is it public?
Yes,
It's been at a public council meeting.
Oh,
yes,
Because I've had lots of people ask me what's happening.
yes.
I want to answer them.
Yes, and we have been discussing, unfortunately, just, staff. I've just been extremely busy. I am wanting to put together an information section on our website with our different resolutions that we've set out, the different reports that I've included here today. As well as after the 29th, our comments to the CNSC. So we are working on it. I apologize. It hasn't been going as fast as I've been hoping, but the intent is there and it will.
Well, and the information will be out pretty clearly by the town hall.
So I have February 19th.
I think we should say the week of February 19th, so depending on the other municipalities. I don't think it matters whether it's Monday to Thursday, whatever works.
February 17th to the 21st. Do you want to say it like that?
Well, that's the 17th is the Wednesday. Oh, no, 17th is the Monday, so yeah, 17th to the 20th even.
Okay.
I wouldn't do a Friday
No,
night.
yeah. The first and second.
Counselor, you want a first? Counselor McVeigh, seconded, Counselor Petit. Okay, moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Petit. Be it resolved that council directs the CAO to coordinate with the surrounding municipalities and First Nations to schedule a town hall meeting on the week of February 17th to the 20th. All in favor?
Question. What's February 20th?
Hmm.
February 1st?
No,
It's the 22nd, isn't it?
yeah, that's the
22nd.
Saturday.
It's Saturday. Saturday's the 22nd.
Oh, you have something scheduled
You
the
set
night of
up
the
For
20th.
me for Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have this on the Friday night.
Okay.
Monday to Thursday, they
Okay.
stated, yeah.
So, and actually, I think there's Euchre scheduled for the Thursday, so probably not Thursday either.
So do you want me to change that?
Be Monday to
the-
Wednesday.
Yeah,
the
it's
17th?
okay. You'll
I just
figure it
want
out.
to clarify.
They'll figure it out. yeah.
Okay, moved by Counselor
call.
McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Petit. Council directs the CAO to coordinate with the surrounding municipalities and First Nations to schedule a town hall meeting on the week of February 17th to the 20th. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next, we have the Ontario Trillium Fund Capital Grant application to renovate the rink shack. This is a grant where we pay 10% of the cost. We have looked at renovating the rink shack that has possibly enlarging doorways, which I'm not sure how that would work with the footprint of the rink shack. There's cracked windows. And the designer our building inspector has encouraged us that to be successful with the grant application, we would need a designer. And that would be approximately $5,000. Who would like to start off that discussion?
Well, that rink shack was built for the kids. And it's a building that's not ready to fall down or not. Spent thousands of dollars on a building that hardly been used. I loved it last night to see the lights on there and there was kids out there. But, the building's solid, nothing wrong with it. It's for the kids. And if you want to spend thousands of dollars on it for having meetings there or something, I don't think it's right. I think it's there. Someday that's not used very much lately. But someday that might be a building for the kids. That's what it's built for, kids.
Counselor Austin?
I'm in the same boat for spending $5,000 for somebody to look at what they gotta do. Seems like a lot of money to be
That's what I said.
putting out just for that, then we're not even talking about what the changes we're going to.
Because then we'd be responsible for 10% of the grant when we get it as well. Like, or if we were successful in getting it. But what is needed, like, I know you said windows and stuff. Should that building be handicap accessible for, I don't care if it's kids, adults, whatever, and it obviously isn't, right? I shouldn't say that because I don't go there.
The bathroom is in somewhat of bad shape. The ceiling is has come down in the bathroom. It generally is in acceptable. I think it could use an update and I wouldn't say it's accessible to anyone with special needs, Councillor McVeigh.
Could we not spend $5,000 on it? And fix it up ourselves?
Yeah,
Let's spend $5,000, let's put lipstick on a pig. Let's dress it up, if you wanna do that, let's just spend $5,000 on it. And let's get the windows fixed up, let's do so, I'd be more an advocate for that versus. Spending 5 and then we gotta come up with 10% of 200. Are we gonna spend $200,000 on that or $100,000 on, like, I don't know.
yeah.
I'm not a builder, but I'm just. If we spend $5,000, if we said, yeah, if we're gonna spend that $5,000, let's just spend $5,000 on it.
Well, the reality is you can spend $5,000 on the designer, and then you may not get the grant.
I agree with that, I understand that as well.
Yeah,
But it was just an idea if council wanted to do something with that building.
just spend.
My attitude would be just spend the $5,000 and let's fix the bathroom up, cause I don't want seeing it again. Like, we want pride in our building too, I think all of us do, we all want, and like Councilor McDonald said, it's for the kids. And if we fix it up a little bit. Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Councillor Jay Petit,
I'm in agreement with Councillor McVeigh.
so what would you like the motion to say? That we decline going to a designer? And we look at spending, maybe in the next budget, setting a little bit aside to look at.
Could we not still, like, I know the building inspector stated if we do this, it'll look favorable for the grant. But if we don't, can we still do I know it's a lot of work by CEO Kitchpah to apply for this, and then if we're not getting it because we didn't do this, well, then why do it? But that's my question.
CEO Ketchpah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I did review the grant application and they do require a very detailed quote by a third party professional in the amount of over $10,000. So if we're asking for a small amount, maybe we're gonna look at something else. Maybe we need to look at a different project for this year. It did seem, when I looked at the application, that that's what they were looking for. They wanted a very detailed quote. I talked to the building inspector. I said, what do I need to do to get a detailed quote? Because I'm not a builder. I don't know what the building code is when you start changing windows, you start, So he said, in order to receive a detailed quote, you need a detailed design of what you want to do. So then I kind of got in this conundrum, so I'm bringing it to you. Do we want to continue down that road, or do we want to pivot and look at something else for that grant? It's based on sport and recreation. I mean, I can certainly find a project for a smaller amount that won't require a designer. For example, now that we have this beautiful playground, maybe we want to look at updating this one a little bit again, some nice benches and nice picnic tables, maybe some sort of
Shade.
sunshade. I can certainly spend $10,000 on very noticeable changes and not have to get that third party assistance. So, I just want to know what council wants me to do.
That to me would make more sense than what, than this, and I think. If we asked our building inspector, could he tell us what we need? And he's knowledgeable in that and give us an idea. We're not asking him to give us a quote on it, just an idea as to what we should do with the rink shack.
Like as far as the bathrooms in the window.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We can make those updates as well.
I think if you're replacing windows, it's just a quote for replacing the windows, but I think the grant of, we know that there would be a great deal of success if we were trying to make it more accessible to people with, special needs or, so that, but, for widening doorways, I don't even know if that can work the way it's, I don't think we're talking about a full reno. Anyway, but I think we're relatively in agreement to not go to the designer. And maybe we look at different ideas that would not include that designer fee, Counselor McVeigh.
Another thought with that in mind, and you're looking for a project. Again, don't, plead ignorance on this. Is there a park or anything up at Sand Bay area? For residents and kids? I know that there seems to be with the change of the ownership of land, there seems to be some people looking at moving there permanent. I've heard from half a dozen people that are spending some money and fixing their places up and looking to move there, and they're not of retirement age. So, 2 or 3 of them I know are moving up there, and they're gonna, like, their kids are, teenage, but I don't know what is up there other than.
I think there's actually equipment at the campground. And so if you think about it, that's generally where the families go, right, at the campground, but that's not a public area.
Unfortunately for this grant, it needs to be municipally
Yeah.
owned land and we don't own any land up there other than the fire hall.
Yeah,
Okay,
which that actually is a good chunk of land, but I don't,
do we own that or do we lease that from
We
the?
lease it, but it's considered
It's ours,
owned, I
it's
guess.
ours,
we
okay.
lease it.
I didn't know.
And there's lots of area there to put something.
Yeah, it was just an idea, right?
Yeah,
If we got,
well,
if you got the 200 grand and you could spend some benches or whatever, and you wanted to look at doing something out there for the residents out there,
Yeah.
because I do know of a couple of people that are purchased out there and are looking at
a
moving.
few park benches and stuff,
Yeah.
and, like, they all go for walks
Oh,
out
yeah,
there.
all
and
day.
Some of them things would make a big difference to the people up there.
Yeah.
can we actually do like recreational equipment?
So anything that is a capital purchase, so it could be playground equipment, similar to what we did at the ball field, equipment of that sort.
Curling rocks?
I think there's a different grant for things like that, like equipment, like smaller equipment. There is a different grant, I believe, for that one, but this is for the purchase of like a large capital equipment that's stationary that is gonna be there for a long time.
Swings or a slide or something.
Well, we found out with that park we did up the ball field,
Yeah,
what was that, close to $80,000?
Yeah,
That was more.
That was
That
more?
was just for the playground equipment itself.
Okay, so it doesn't take long when you start getting
No.
children involved and other things, how fast the cost increases, but if we do get a grant, again, it all comes back to our CEO having to do more work, but it was just an idea up there, because I don't know what they have up there, because the campground is not ours, and the campground could say, just because you you want a house down the street, you can't come here. Right, like, it's their property.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah, no, I had talked to people briefly about it because there was discussion when we put the one in on Minto. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they would like to come forward and say there is a need, but there isn't a huge number of young families there. So then it's grandparents. And we all know that, so then the children aren't really living there, they're visiting. So a lot of, generally the general feel when I was asking maybe a year ago was that, oh, maybe we could use it, but it didn't seem, he said, like a desperate need, but maybe they would change their minds and they would want us to do that. It's also maintenance too for our town, right? Like, then you're going up and.
They do need to be inspected, yeah.
Yeah, and well, and you have to, cut the grass or whatever is going on. I guess we're putting the non-flammable wood chips. Okay, so we have a motion.
Okay, so would council like to direct me to apply for a playground at Sand Bay. Or,
So this is for March, so we do
Yeah.
need to decide.
Well, the equipment over
How
here, that
does
you're
the-
talking, you're talking about stuff over here as well, which I thought was
Yeah.
great too, so I was just throwing out ideas, sorry, just brainstorming.
how would the fire team feel about having a playground in the same parking lot?
I don't think you could put it in the same parking lot.
We could put it in the back, I'd be.
Yeah.
Off to the side, there's lots of room.
It's,
3 to 5 firefighters up there, so in a moment of a call, there's only,
Okay.
you only need,
I just
3
don't
to
want to
5
get caught
spots.
off guard by.
No, no,
them
I don't
not
think there would be a-
appreciating that.
it would be great if we had 18 people up there, we would love the fact of having 10 people up there. But right now,
Would that,
Five.
like, I'm just thinking here, would that include like park benches and stuff to put in?
sure,
Like if you got 3 or 4 in the park benches there and a few here. Okay.
It's a minimum of 10,000 that I have to apply for, so.
Councilor, Austin, were you talking about the park benches like on the side of the road, like people?
On the
could
side of the
stop
road, at the fire hall, over near Sand Bay, people there,
Out for a walk and
anytime
stuff.
I've been up there, there's somebody walking
Oh.
around. Yeah,
Every time I go up there, somebody walking.
that'd be a nice spot for them to stop and rest or whatever.
Cause those benches are expensive, aren't they?
They're not too bad, I think the ones that we put in at the playground were, I remember correctly, they were just under $1,000
oh, I
each.
thought they were 2. I thought, I could.
So you put 3 or 4, that's $4,000 right there, you
Yeah,
know, without
and
even.
you get, like up there, I would put heavier style park benches.
But the one that's at the one that's there pretty heavy, like in the scoop. The one that's in the dog park is heavy enough too, right? So you got I don't know if that's a 4 or 6 inch tubes.
Our town superintendent
Did that,
made,
Made form for them.
yeah, something to. back
Anchor them so they don't float away.
Yeah,
But just the bench alone though is heavy. I agree that he's have to dig a hole and put
Mhm.
concrete in it to hold it, cause something will.
We could maybe look at some different materials. That one is aluminum at the, and I chose that just for the reason we didn't have to worry about painting it and it wouldn't be rusting. Cause some of the cast iron ones, like they're heavy, but there's a lot of maintenance involved in them. But that's why I chose those ones for there, but there's so many different styles, like you'd be
Like
boggled.
park benches and picnic tables and. I mean, we have places here to put them. You got the beach again where you need picnic tables again.
yeah, I think my first thing focus would still be the rink shack, but for things that we don't necessarily need a designer for, like even if you're just replacing windows, it's easy to get the quote for that.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. Just the way the grant reads, they're looking at increasing the use of a building. So I need to show,
Yeah.
or a park. I need to show that I'm making it. I'm gonna increase the use of it with this expenditure. So like, as much as, I can certainly try to apply for like new windows or a new bathroom. Maybe that's something that our building inspector can give me some details on, but I still need to
And he
get
may-
that detailed quote by a third party.
He may tell you when you're gonna touch that building for the washroom that now it's gotta be handicap accessible, cause it's a music. now we're
Unfortunately,
gonna have
that's
to-
what we're gonna.
Now we're gonna have to get
do.
a adult change table and a this and
Yeah.
a that, and you're gonna be,
And then you have to bring the rest of the building up to
Yeah,
code as
so let me know.
well. So to be honest, I think just my recommendation,
I wouldn't touch it.
it's either kind of all or nothing with a grant situation. I mean, if we want to spend a little bit of money cleaning it up and freshening it up, that's a different matter. That's just freshening. But that would just be my recommendation.
You find out that building, you're gonna spend that 200 grand when they touch it.
You will, yes. Definitely will.
Okay, so how are we directing the CAO to look at playground updates and opportunities for the hall, possibly the rink shack and up at Sand Bay? Is that? Or you just want to do Sand Bay?
Where'd the hall come into it? I never heard the hall, I was just wondering if it.
Oh,
we wanna
no,
do-
I
what
mean,
is
like
the
the
hall?
playground at
Oh,
the
okay.
hall.
I was talking,
That's what I'm
yeah, I was like, I didn't hear
Not
nothing
all.
about here, what are you
Yeah,
saying yes to before we?
I don't know. I'm just trying to articulate what we're talking about.
I think if you, can you put it outdoor playground equipment, does it have to be specific? To
No.
location A, location B, location C?
It is when I applied for it, but it doesn't have to be in the motion, but yes, I do have to identify, I have to send mapping to them with coordinate, like latitude, longitude, so. Yeah, we do need to have a pretty specific idea of what we're doing and where we're doing it.
We could look at those two places, or I think it was two places here at the hall.
Yeah, right
Sand
here and
Yeah.
Sand Bay.
So upgrades,
Then we do have stuff
To
at
the-
the beach too that we're gonna have to.
yeah, it does have to be on municipally
Oh.
owned land for this grant, unfortunately, that's one of the parameters. So upgrades to the playground, at 64 McIntyre. And do you want me to look at, some like recreational benches for Sand Bay?
Yeah,
I think that'd be great.
And we're not talking about children's play equipment for Sand Bay?
not right now, I think.
No, I think we discussed after your conversation, after your thoughts.
They might have a different feeling. I don't know.
I think
how-
the benches would go a long ways with the community out there. Seeing some
Just
stuff
some
put out there.
improvements to show
Oh,
we're
yeah.
doing something.
Yeah,
You put 3 or 4 of them in,
I thought that. I was surprised at the 1,000, cause I thought when Espinal did the water park, they spent like 3,000 a bench. Cause they were bought by community members for,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I might be wrong.
No, no,
with my
They
estimate.
might be fancier benches.
Yeah.
they're nice benches, but I know like. The Grand Eccleston one was $3,000, and there's 2 or 3 of them in there
Okay.
that I know grants would,
they're water repellent.
they're aluminum, or they're steel, whatever, they're tubing, it's crazy.
Okay, so Counselor McVeigh, do you want to move this?
Sure.
And Counselor Deputy, second? Moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Deputy, whereas council accepts the CAO's report of 2025-6 entitled Request for Funds to support the Ontario Petroleum Fund capital grant application to renovate the rink shack for information. And be it resolved that council does not approve the request for the CAO for funds in the amount of 5,000 to hire an engineer architect to prepare detailed drawings of the proposed rink shack renovation. And further, that council directs the CAO to pursue upgrades to the playground at 64 McIntyre and recreational benches in the Sand Bay area. All in favor? That's carried. Excellent. And then we have the municipal superintendent's report, but I don't think, do we need to discuss it? So moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, be it resolved that council accepts the municipal superintendent's report to council dated January 7th, 2025. All in favor? Carried.
I'd like to say I'm glad to see the sander on the little truck now, and we have a secondary,
Yes.
if something happens, we're not stuck like last
It
year.
took a while.
Yeah, I have an update. We just got it back.
And I seen it on the truck.
Okay,
I did
perfect.
on the
Yeah,
truck today.
yes,
Yeah,
so,
It's been on for a
It's-
couple of days.
Oh, I was
It-
away, but when I got here today, I was like,
It took, yeah, that took a lot to get it going. And then I have a conflict with 7H, right?
Mhm.
Unless I'm,
so I'm just thinking about this now. We're gonna have to appoint a new chair just for this discussion.
okay,
So that leaves Counselor McDonald and Counselor Day-Patsy.
no, I'm out. I have
we
a
have
conflict
a
of interest.
conflict. So Counselor McDonald, is it, you're the one here live? Are you fine with doing that?
Okay. Long you guide me what to do there.
Well, Linda will guide you.
I don't know, but I think I've lost the audio.
Oh, no, we're quiet. We're just getting a motion.
All right.
So moved by Counselor McVeigh and seconded by Counselor Despatie. Be it resolved that Councilor McDonald will sit as the chair for discussions on agenda item 7H, the fire budget. All in favor?
Sorry, that's not the fire budget.
Oh, the fire,
Report, fire chief's report.
fire chief report. I'm gonna read it again. Counselor McDonald will sit as the chair for discussions on agenda for item 7H, the fire chief report. All in favor?
Oh, I guess I shouldn't vote.
Yeah,
No, yeah, this is just for. Okay.
we leave or do we stay?
I'm going. I'm taking a vacation.
You don't have to.
For you, Mr. Chair, did you want me to give a brief summary of the
Yeah.
report?
You can read that if you want.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Where are you going?
I'm out of it.
I'm the only one here.
you and Councilor
Oh, gee.
Despatie.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna read the portion that discusses the budget, the monetary request that he's asking for. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so he said new year training will start with the mandatory certification of firefighters, which is firefighter 1. This will commence with the assistance of a training officer from Espanola Fire. Our departments, both stations 1 and 2 are in good shape, but seem to be depreciating even though we spend budgeted monies every year trying to update an acceptable pace to allow for improvements. But we will continue to try to acquire more space in Nairn as our hall is at full capacity. Budget review will begin shortly, and I ask that a motion be put forward. In a previous letter and discussion, I have stated the fact that new department PPE is required, and the option I have requested is a transfer of money or a deferral in payments to be added to the end of the term, so the budget wasn't affected. I'm requesting council to put a motion forward and approve this motion that the payments from line item this is budget line item 660801-020 fire truck loan payment to reserves for 2025 be deferred to the end of the borrowing agreement as stated in bylaw 2019-06 to now end in 2032. I request that this motion be passed at this meeting and not defeated to have a discussion at another date. To move forward, I need to obtain a timeline for soup ordering. With this approval to move forward, we are now registered with the canoe program, which may provide a discount to purchases in the municipality. In previous meetings, quotes have been asked for, the unfortunate part of quotes lasting only 15 days. I've stated that the cost of the new PPE pursuit and will only purchase from 2 suppliers that a few departments have used for several years, understanding the gear that is provided. Suit pricing between the suppliers is only a few dollars different depending on the style and may change with the bulk order. With the increase of a possibly 3 to 6% added in the 2025 budget, there will be sufficient funds for this purchase. So I spoke, through you, Mr. Chair, I spoke to the fire chief in advance of this meeting and asked him what the cost per suit was. So he gave me a quote of approximately $3,300 per suit. So it's $3,073 plus HST. And he needs to purchase 10 suits.
And Sue.
And the reason why, as discussed in previous meetings, is the OFM guidelines and the NFPA standards are requiring us to retire any suits 10 years after their manufacturing date. So that's why he's requesting this. He said all our suits are actually in really good shape, so it's a shame to have to be replacing them. However, if there is ever some sort of issue, an injury to a firefighter, and it's found in the investigation that the suit is expired, the town is liable.
Mhm.
for any damages, possible lawsuits, so. I agree with his recommendations, him and I have both looked at this bylaw. It will need to be amended to change to have this year's payment deferred. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's important.
Yes, I agree too. Like I've been in the fire department for 23 years too, so, and we gotta protect the firemen, that's for sure. Okay, I agree to that. How about Guy?
Yeah, I've got no objection. It's mandated by legislation that they have modern suits, so let's buy them. We got no choice.
No, we got no choice.
Okay, sounds good. So I have prepared a motion. I'll read it to you ahead of time.
Okay,
So it says, whereas council has reviewed the fire chief's report dated January 8th, 2025 for information. And be it resolved that council agrees with the request to defer the fire truck loan payment for 2025 in the amount of $30,080.28 to the end of the borrowing term as defined by bylaw 2019-6. And further that the fire chief may utilize that amount for the purchase of new PPE in advance of the approval of the 2025 fire department budget.
I agree. How about Guy?
Okay, so I'm gonna,
Where do you see him on there?
he's right here.
Oh, okay.
Here, I
I
can,
not looking.
I can,
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was just wondering.
there he is.
There,
Does that help?
oh my God, turn it on. I agree.
Okay,
How about
so, we just need to move and second it
Oh, okay,
first, so
okay. Who got it?
moved by you, Councillor
Okay.
Austin, or sorry, Councillor McDonald.
Yeah.
And seconded by Councillor Despatie. And as the other three councillors have declared a conflict, it'll only be you voting. So how do you vote?
All, you in favor? Yeah, I'm
Those
in favor.
Okay, so
Pass.
in pass.
Carry.
Carried.
You
And I'll get you to sign this after,
Yeah.
okay, Councillor?
wouldn't want me to be mayor all the time, eh?
You did a great job.
Oh, I'm nervous just doing that.
Okay, so then we just need a motion to hand the chair back over to Mayor Maisy, okay? So I'll read it to you ahead of time. Be it resolved that the chair return to Mayor Maisy to continue with the agenda items. Moved by Councillor McDonald.
Yes.
Seconded by Councillor Despatie. Okay,
I'm in favor.
favor? Are you in favor, Guy? Okay, so that's carried. So remind me to get you to sign those two motions after we're done, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm gonna run for mayor next time.
Yeah.
Done a good job, Roy.
I had a lot of help. Belinda. I was more prepared, I would have been better.
You should have read the news.
Eh?
You should have read the minutes.
Oh, I didn't read this.
No.
Caught, I'm caught.
Don't say that. Fire you. All right, so we're moving on to.
Is the camera on?
It's been on the whole time.
Okay,
We're moving on to,
the Planning, Economic
Yeah.
Development and Public Works Committee
Yeah.
meeting, do we have to, for me to come back as?
well, we just passed a motion, that Councillor, or sorry. That you would return as chair.
Okay, Moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, be it resolved that council accepts the Planning, Economic Development and Public Works Committee minutes dated December 9th, 2024 is presented. All in favor? Carried. Then we have Parks and Recreation. Moved by Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, whereas council has received the Community Parks and Recreation Committee minutes dated January 6th, 2025, and be it resolved that council accepts Lisa Furlot as the new committee chair. All in favor? That's carried. Then we have correspondences.
And there's just one more motion for that.
Moved by Counselor Austin. Okay, so this is about requesting funds for $400 to run a winter yoga series. This actually doesn't cost the town money. We just actually front the money and then people attending the class pay for it. So it sounds like it's costing, it doesn't cost us money, right? I'm not making this
No,
up.
there's revenue.
Yes, so moved by Counselor Austin, seconded by Counselor McDonald, whereas council has received the Community Parks and Recreation Committee minutes and notes resolution 2025 rec-5 requesting funds in the amount of $400 to run a winter yoga series, and be it resolved that council approves this expense. All in favor? Carried. Excellent, and so we have correspondence.
That's just something.
So moved by Counselor McVeigh, seconded by Counselor Despatie, if that's okay. This is just to accept correspondences. Be it resolved that council notes the correspondence items 8A to G as received. All in favor? It's carried.
So the only motion I had for correspondences was regarding the request to participate in the municipal tree planting. Really,
Okay.
the rest was just.
So let's just spell it out for people listening. Our OPP bill for 2025 will actually go down 3.75%. Because we're a smaller municipality, and that's great news. So we'll take it.
I have a hard time. Baldwin and Massey, and they all went up.
We went up as well, about $3,000.
Oh, you just said we had a lot.
But then they
Went
have
down.
looked at it and given us a reduction for this year.
Don't
So
ask-
it went up, it didn't go down.
You're right.
Oh, what I understood from that, and something I'd read was our call volume was down here as well,
Mhm.
compared to another municipality that I had asked about.
Yeah.
A neighboring community, their call volume is up. So, because we had less calls.
I thought it was because we were more of a rural community. So are we down 3.75?
So, we received, a bill for 2025 and it was up about $3,000. But it related to all these, increases that the union had, approved, like a new collective bargaining. It also looked at, as Councilor McVeigh said, call volume. And there was also a huge outcry from many municipalities throughout, especially the North Shore area in our area, because like you've mentioned, a lot of municipalities skyrocketed. Ours did not. It did go up a little bit, like approximately $3,000.
How much?
So approximately $3,000.
3,000.
For 2025. But we have since received this, that they're giving us a discount on that amount, so,
They're coming down 3% from the additional.
yeah. Total, yeah.
Yeah. So there's
So-
a 3%.
So we haven't
reduction.
actually crunched the numbers.
I haven't crunched the
To know
numbers
if
yet.
we actually,
Well, it's only gonna be cheaper than what we were told it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Yes,
well, we have to pay it anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I mean,
Now, that doesn't include our costs for our OPP committee.
No.
That's separate.
that's separate,
Separate.
We gotta
yeah,
pay that, that's $5,000 or something.
Wow,
Yeah,
per municipality, right?
wow.
I don't know if, did you put it on there about the remuneration?
No, I apologize. I meant to, I
That's
forgot.
okay.
I did confirm that that was approved at your
Yeah.
last meeting. I will bring forward a report with the
'Cause
new
I wanted to kind of
billing.
explain it to
Yes,
council.
if you want to explain it, I
We-
apologize.
We all get paid to attend committees. Now, because of the OPP board, they had to make changes that myself, I don't get paid to attend from the town. I get paid from the OPP board.
Hmm.
And I get more than I would from the town. But it's a standard they want throughout, and so everybody on the board gets paid the same because it's all different municipalities.
Okay, we also have a support letter from the municipality of East Ferris, which is good, for our radioactive material issue. And then we have Espanola High School asking us to join their tree planting, relay, and the cost would come to us. They've challenged us to plant 50 trees. I wondered if we could approach Interfor, or if we could do something fun like lilac bushes, which we already have a lot in town. I didn't know what you might think.
They're planting trees. They want trees, they don't want lilac bush.
Or bushes and trees.
Well, okay,
Yeah, it's a nice thought, but
They're probably gonna give you saplings. Of some-
I
yeah,
didn't, it seemed unclear. I don't know that they're giving us anything.
Well, you're not giving you, they're gonna, from what I understood of it, they're gonna have 300 of them, say, as a number. And then you want 50, okay, well, you're gonna get a bill for the 50. At $1.25 or $1 or $3. I don't know the
and
number.
you're planting in different locations.
Yeah, so it does see, so maybe we just need some more information about the details, cause it kind of feels like we might be signing a blank check. And that's not
It's
fun.
not, from what I understand, it's not a large sum of money. The cost of the trees are like dollars.
But that wasn't in the report.
No,
That's
no,
just your
no,
impression.
That's what I understood.
That's kind of what I thought too, like they're not very significant. Anyway, is there interest in participating in this tree planting?
I don't see it as a bad thing. Could we put a spin on it that we have them at the town office for people to pick up to plant? So then you can, Counselor Austin can take 2 and plant them in his yard. And then Counselor McDonald can put 3 in his yard. I don't want any in my yard. Like, and I'm just picking on, you know what I mean?
The
Yeah.
types of trees we wanna know.
But they're gonna, I
Are you
bet you,
just getting
I
some
bet you
old
they're
jack
jack
pine
pines.
trees or?
Yeah, I bet you they're jack pines.
I cut most of my trees down, I don't want them.
Yeah,
They're not apple trees.
Don't bring that.
I was looking right at him. I know he can't see, or maybe he can, but.
Oh, I see, I get you now.
I get you now.
Are we interested in getting more information on it, what the cost would be to us and,
type of trees and the cost.
yeah.
It's a simple thing.
Yeah, I think there would be enough people interested in 50 little trees.
Got 400, you know, I don't know how many houses there are, but you got 400 residents or whatever, you might get rid of 50.
Not like in the. I was in the city of Sudbury. They come along and ask the homeowners, what type of tree would you like on your front lawn? We don't want any, we didn't ask you if you wanted it, what type do you want it to plant on your front lawn?
It's true.
It's not your property,
It's
we're
down-
planted in front of your house, what do you want?
That shocked a lot of people.
Yeah.
I get so.
Don't get it.
Moved by, Counselor McDonald, second by Counselor Austin, whereas councilors received the correspondence from Espanola High School requesting that a municipality participates in the La Cloche area municipal tree planting relay. And be it resolved that council directs that the CAO to inquire about the cost and types of trees available for this program. All in favor? Okay, yeah, okay, that's carried. I mean, this is something we can do in spring, you know, maybe on our spring cleanup day or,
Like this comment said, 50 seedlings or full-size trees
oh,
within their community.
Yeah.
Like you go to the greenhouse and get an 8-foot high tree.
Like I put
That,
that,
that is 50 cents or $1.
no, that red maple I put the last year, the year before, whatever it was.
Minister of Municipal Affairs, is that Paul Calandra? That's, changes to the, Integrity Commissioner Bill. Ministry of Mines, that's, information regarding, well, just them saying that they will be answering our questions, but we have not received answers to the questions. Changes to public health. Michael Mantha is available to help us with the Roma conference. We've already discussed it with him. He will be there. So are we at bylaws?
Yeah.
Okay. So moved by Counselor Austin, seconded by Counselor McDonald, be it resolved that being a bylaw to provide for the regulation of open air burning and precautions to be taken by persons setting fires. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council as a number shall be 2025-1. All in favor? It's carried.
I just, go back a second. I think we had that, from the municipal affairs. They asked for our comments on that. Are we gonna give any?
I think you could do your individual. How do we make that if it was all in our agenda package?
Yeah.
It
Can,
was addressed to you.
yeah, it was to you.
From what I understand, you can request to make comments on it. I believe any council members can.
Makes sense.
So.
And is there an email included so that? he can
There
just-
is a link in the letter. If anyone wants to, participate, I can certainly help them.
It's on my to-do list, like many things, but it's on the list. It'll get done. Okay, do we have a deadline for that?
So 60 days, eh? We'll do it
Yeah.
for 60 days.
So that was released on December 12th, so 60 days after December 12th.
So February 12th-ish.
Yeah.
You gotta have her done.
Okay, another bylaw? Oh, wow. First by Counselor McDonald, second by, Counselor Austin, be it resolved that being a bylaw of the corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman to enter into an agreement with His Majesty the King in the right of Ontario as represented by the Office of the Fire Marshal, Province and the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman. The recipient to be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2025-2. All in favor? That's carried. So moved by Counselor Austin, seconded by Counselor McDonald, be it resolved that being a bylaw for the corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman to enter in a conditional contribution agreement with the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation and the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman, a municipality existing under the laws of Ontario. The employer be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2025-3. All in favor? That's carried. Okay. Okay, so in other business, I was traveling somewhere and there was a sign on the side of the road that prohibited the transportation of hazardous waste on that road. This request is for our CAO to go to our lawyer and see if that's something that we could do to basically to stop the transportation of uranium or naturally occurring radioactive matter. And it might be a legal way to stop it from coming in. We don't know. So that's what this ask is. Would you like to proceed to go to legal counsel to see if that's something we can legally do? Any questions?
Myself, I'm not interested in doing that. I don't think it's a benefit to us. We can enforce it to start with.
We can't enforce
Well, how
it.
are you gonna enforce it?
Well, I think
Our
if we-
bylaw officer comes in once a week and he's not here.
well, I think if we know, like, this is for the transportation in the back, if we know that it theoretically should be starting in the spring, we could be
We have a
prepared.
bylaw that they can't drive through town and they're steady doing it with transports.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
What are we gonna,
yeah.
Today,
yeah,
Counselor McDonald?
I can't agree with it. You know? I don't know, I don't like to have any hazard come through near at all.
You,
This
you-
material,
you don't like what?
any hazard material near there, let alone driving around town.
Well, this is. I mean, you're right. We are just thinking of it as an angle to stop that transportation of niobium and, the stuff going on.
if they want, they can come right through town and we can't say a thing because it's a Queen's Highway or King's
Yeah.
Highway.
Right, so we would be specifically looking at the roads in the back. That's really what we would be looking at, Counselor McVeigh.
I don't know how we would enforce it, like, we didn't even know they were updating and fixing the roads. Who's gonna, like, how do we know all this stuff? Like, I'm not gonna sit there and, I would love to sit there and stop it, but, I don't see how we're gonna enforce it. In any.
I think
way,
that would be up to our bylaw, and we'd have to,
You're dealing with the provincial
Yeah,
government.
they're gonna make it happen. They're gonna say no to your little municipal bylaw.
well, this is us looking legal, like, I mean, you're going to a lawyer to see, is this a possibility? So that's, Counselor Jay Petit?
I think that's a fantastic idea. Any option that we have to stop this niobium from being and uranium from being transported to our community, I think we should explore every opportunity. I think this is a good idea. If we can pass this bylaw legally, then we'll get our bylaw officer to enforce it, even if we have to pay him to sit on the road most of the night. I don't care. It's a very valid option.
I'm gonna ask for a recorded vote.
Okay,
So,
so I'll read the motion first. Whereas council has reviewed the notice of motion from Mayor Maisy to discuss the possibility of creating a bylaw to not allow hazardous radioactive waste on any local roads within the township. And be it resolved that council directs that staff seek out legal advice regarding the possibility of creating such bylaw from our legal counselor.
A question on that. Hasn't the government said that it's non-radioactive?
We could
Well, we
say
don't actually-
hazardous or radioactive.
yeah, we don't actually know the science behind what they're
Yeah.
bringing in. We don't really, so if you say hazardous / radioactive, that covers,
You're
Well-
dealing with the provincial government. They're saying that it's not hazardous and it's not radioactive, so where are you gonna end up? Do we got enough money to go to court to fight them?
Well,
It
you
doesn't seem
we
logical.
could,
we also set the fines.
Haven't you still
If
got-
I understand correctly, this is why we go to the lawyer, but,
yeah, no,
I think on the for some reason, I thought that the fine was quite hefty for it, whether it was posted on the sign. And I think the municipality sets that. So if you're multiplying that per truck trying to come in,
Is Sudbury stopping them?
no, well, they benefited.
yeah,
The only one's not getting paid or getting anything out of this deal,
yeah.
let's be honest.
They're hauling on Sudbury roads and they're not stopping them, they don't care.
They seem to be well aware of it in advance.
Somebody got to pile the infrastructure to their roads.
So you say we should allow it or what?
No, but you can go to the lawyer and see if they say yes or no. If the lawyer says this is a waste of time, yeah, we had to pay our lawyer $250 to tell us to pound salt. But if the lawyer says, yeah, this is something actually, we've seen it in 5 other municipalities, maybe it's something we look at doing.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think.
It's just
Yeah.
an opinion.
Yeah, it's just an
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
You are spending a little bit of money to find out if it's actually feasible. Would it actually work? Can we
Like-
legally do it?
Like if we find out, yes, we can do it, then the enforcement's the issue I have. Because I don't see them enforcing it, but I'd like to see them try. Like Counselor Deputy says,
Yeah,
let's push the enforcement side of it, but we can't get enforcement on Minto Street for trucks.
no, I know. I know.
okay,
Okay.
all right,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
Mayor Maisie's requested a recorded vote, Counselor McVeigh for or
Yeah.
against, for? Counselor Austin, for or against, for?
Yeah.
Counselor Despatie, for or against,
In favor.
okay? Counselor McDonald, for,
Favor.
okay, and Mayor Maisie,
I'm for it.
okay, so that's carried.
Let's check it out.
Yeah. Sign that.
Okay,
Question on a point of order. And, we do a notice of motion like this now if I want it.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Mayor
your
Maisy
question.
didn't sign this motion.
Yes, but I did legally have her permission
Okay, well,
through
that's what I'm
text
asking
and a
you.
picture
Yeah,
to, and.
if I called
verbal.
you up and said I couldn't make it, you can do that?
I don't have a problem with that, and I don't
Okay.
see it's against our I made sure that I had the text and her written
Yeah,
confirmation.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure, I didn't know
Oh, okay, sorry.
that we could do that.
I don't have a problem with it, does any council have a problem with it?
No, I just wanted to be clear on what the rules.
I think for the notice of motion, I think the idea is we want to know a week in advance to get things into the meeting, so our CAO knows. So the package can go out and it's not a rush and done quickly, so. I think that's the point of the week in advance, but. Moved by Counselor Austin, second by Counselor McDonald, be it resolved that being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the township of Nairn and Hyman be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2025-4. All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Counselor McDonald, seconded by Counselor Austin, be it, what's the date? Be it resolved that the meeting of January 15th do now adjourn, at 8:11. To meet again on the 10th day of February 2025, or at the call of the mayor, all in favor? Carried.
Once again, sorry for being late.
Nope.
Well, I was